Everyone good? Money's in the room. That's right. That's right. Mike is working. Yes. funny story. Yesterday, I recorded an entire video. Not in the room, but just a video I was doing for YouTube. And I recorded, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes without turning on the mic. so so I had to do that again. How many of you caught this bounce in the SPY or the Qs or any of the indices? I kind of want to talk about real quick a indicator. Well, it's not really an indicator. It's more of a in market internal that I've started watching a lot more now, and I'll start experimenting with it a little bit more. But for those of you who play these sniper plays, and if you've ever, you're getting in the habit of playing the sniper plays, we have the sniper 1.0s, we have the sniper 2.0s, and sometimes you'll get caught in a trend day, right? Where the market's just drifting straight up, right? And you keep trying a sniper 2.0 reversal and you get caught and you stop out. And you try another sniper 1.0 reversal and you get stopped out. And what would have been better would be to just have an indicator or have a series of indicators that will inform you within the first 30 minutes or so. And then all of a sudden you realize you're in a trend day, and then you can start taking trades in the direction of that trend. And that kind of worked out pretty nicely today for me, because I was watching this indicator here, which I've put on my indices charts of the SPY and the Qs. And this is called the VOLD indicator down here, VOLD. It's a ratio, right? And so it shows you as the market opens, right? It shows you the ratio of up volume to down volume. This one in the in YSE, right? So if we have a positive VOLD ratio, and I've put some lines in here at about 2.5. And this morning, especially if we look at the Qs, this morning on the Qs, we were pushing up, a 5-to-1 ratio almost. We're in the high fours, and we were above this 2.5 level. Now, if the VOLD ratio is positive and above 2.5, we have a lot more names that are having up volume brought into them than we do down. And then conversely, if you have a really sharp down day, they'll reverse. I'm trying to find a good example. So here you'll have some VOLD. Here's a VOLD ratio down here where we're having, a sell-off type day. And I bet if I go to the actual chart as we kind of move out, this was a pretty solid sell-off type of day here, right? And so this can give you some early signs of what kind of day you might be having, and what the market sentiment is in terms of whether we're going to buy, whether there's going to be buying or there's going to be selling, and to what degree. And so today's chart here, you can see we started off in kind of a range after a bit of a gap up. And so I was watching that gap up. We had a higher than normal VOLD ratio to the buy side. And we were kind of drifting slowly downward. And so that prevented me from taking a sniper to the downside because I was expecting, buy algos to come in and start to buy things up, especially with a little bit of a gap up. But then we came in here. Thank you, Fabio. That's very helpful. We came in here and we got some market news that we flushed, and it looked like we were going to try and bounce. I tried to bounce it once and then I got wicked out. But the reason I was trying to bounce was because of the VOLD ratio that was up high. The only thing that was giving me some level of concern is the ticks were hovering mostly above zero up until that point, right? So I'm watching the ticks for the actual buying, and then I'm also watching the advanced decline. And as you can see, this box here on the advanced decline is I've put marks at both 2,000, plus 2,000, and minus 2,000. So when we see a trend day, and next time we have a trend day, I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about and how this pertains to the snipers. If my initial VOLD ratios are above 2.5, getting up into that 4 and 5 range on the buy side, and we've got a advanced decline that is pinned, up here near 2,000, even from the get-go. That to me is, and then of course we're obviously going to see some ticks that are above zero. That to me is an indicator that we are in a definite trend day, and we want to play the snipers to the upside only. Right? Because that's the direction the market is moving. Okay. And conversely, if we have a negative VOLD ratio below 2.5 and our advanced decline is starting down here at 2,000, we have a gap down, and our advanced decline here is showing, very negative and staying pinned down here. I'm not going to take any snipers to the long side. I'm going to wait for setups to the short side and go with the trend in the market, right? And for those of you who don't yet know what the sniper trades are, I have a video for that. I'll put in here, just in case you don't know. Whoops. And so as we were coming in today, we kept kind of bouncing in this range. This is the hourly range here, our high and our low. And D-Man was on the mic at the time, and so we were all watching this together, which I thought was great because then I could come back in a little later and talk about it, because most of you were watching this fake breakdown, which of course we didn't know was going to be a fake breakdown until it started to recover, right? But as soon as it started to recover, we were still way up. You can see this little dip in the VOLD here, in this piece here, but we were still well positive. And then we started to recover back above that 2.5 line. I took a sniper long, right, and rode this up into this 569 level. And I had confidence to ride that up, as it paused here at VWAP, because we had the higher than normal VOLD levels. And, I've only just started using this indicator to kind of help predict. But even though we had sold off and it was starting to look ugly, I was still trying to bounce this. I know D-Man was as well, because whatever he was watching and his market sentiment also said hey, I want to keep trying to bounce this because I think there's going to be buying coming into the market, right? So the VOLD in combination with the advanced decline and the ticks are going to be kind of a new way to help figure out what the direction of the market is going to be within that first sort of 30 minutes to an hour into the market. And as you can see, this happens at about 10:30, 10:40. That's usually a time that we get a reversal in the market. And that happens generally because, let's see if I have it on here. I don't have it on here. Because that's when the London market. Let's see here. Where am I? Oh, man, I'm turning on all kinds of stuff. Never mind. Anyway, at about 10:30, we start to see a reverse. 10:30, 10:40, we can kind of see a reverse. So the fact that that was also happening as we get this breakdown, this fake breakdown at about that 10:30 mark, 10:40 mark, that was an even further indication that hey, we're probably going to get a reversal here in the market. No, the VOLD does not assist in closing a trade, and it doesn't even really assist in opening a trade. It just helps. It's an indicator, market internal, right? So we look at the ticks here, right? These are the ticks, and some people have this. I have this up on another chart as well. As you can see, this is real time buying and selling, right? If we're above 600, we're looking at some strong buying. If we're below minus 600, we're looking at some strong selling. We're looking at the VIX. This is a volatility index. As you can see, as we rolled over today, we started to spike up here. Another fun trade could have been to short the VIX into that because of the way the VOLD ratio was staying positive, right? And then the advanced decline is just the number of stocks that are up on the day versus the number of stocks that are down on the day, or uptick and downtick. And this is also a real-time indicator. You can see the ticks are starting to come down a little bit, and if I turn to an indicator, not an indicator, an indice, you can see that the ticks are that it's starting to roll over. Now we're not getting extreme selling, right? So this just could be a pullback before we bounce off this level. But if you start to see negative ticks coming in down near 600, you can expect that your indices are starting to roll a little bit. So this VOLD indicator is called, if anybody wants to put that on their charts, it's a free indicator on TradingView, and it's just the VOLD ratio. So if you go, I think it's this one by Tenozen. Let's see. Yikes. Nope, that did not. Let's see here. Hold on. I think that's the one I put on here. No, it wasn't. Is it the market breadth? Nope, it wasn't. Yeah, it's that first VOLD indicator. Okay, so I'm going to star that one so that it's always there. I was playing around with these yesterday trying to find one that I really liked. So it's just, if you come in here and you type in VOLD, it's just called VOLD indicator by viewer 405. You might want to try in Thinkorswim. You might want to try $VOLD. It's an indicator that you'll be able to find in any platform. I have not played with it on Toss, so I'll probably do that next, so that anybody that wants to use the VOLD as another internal. So these internals are basically just giving us, kind of the heartbeat of the market, what's happening kind of in real time. The ticks are going to move the fastest. The ADD is the second fastest, and the VOLD is actually, the slowest of the three. But you can start to see what's happening. The buying that's coming into the market has been here all day, especially on the Q side. It was high on the SPY, but it's definitely higher on the Qs, and the Qs have moved less and fell off, less. So I just wanted to kind of give another perspective to the bounce in the Qs that we all played. Bounce in the SPY that we all played today. There's just other ways to look at that, right? And so if you have a high VOLD ratio and you're playing a bounce and you're playing it at 1030, you have the confidence to let this run, and potentially, the confidence factor. I took mine off at about 30%, but we're staying up above or around about that 2.5 line, and so that's telling me, we're probably going to get into a wide range day. So we'll probably come up here and, maybe retest this high potentially, and then maybe roll a little unless the VOLD kind of creeps back up towards about 5. But this was an important thing that I've been trying to play with on these snipers, because sometimes a 1.0 sniper works the best in a ranging market, and then on a day where you get a trend day, a huge buying day or a huge selling day, and you can't really tell that it's that kind of a day without the VOLD indicator until you get stopped out a couple times trying to play some 1.0s. This helps inform that a little easier, so you can switch your bias and start to capture a much larger portion of those moves. Any questions there? Yeah, Polaris. I'll look at it on Toss, and I'll find the indicator that gives you the bars down here. I'll play around with it. I do all my charting in TradingView, so I just wanted to make sure I had this dialed in before I jumped in. Yeah, I recorded this, Joey. And so by about 9:30, we can get an idea of what's happening in the market for the day, and start to make some early decisions. And I'll start trying to put those into chat as well. What I'm seeing in the VOLD and the advanced decline, and what I think that means for the day. KBB, yeah, you can get the VOLD on Thinkorswim, but I haven't tried it yet. So what I'll do is I'll play around with it, see if I can get it on Thinkorswim. It should just be $VOLD, or you can type in VOLD ratio, and something should pop up. I just haven't played with it. Lucky, I have a risk reward. That's a great question, by the way. How much drawdown do I allow for TPS trades before they maybe go bad? I have a video that I I think you should watch. It's let me see if I can find it so I can just give you the actual link. But it's basically, it was during the open house. I kind of have two of them. So watch this one. Man, I can't spell today. I need more coffee with options. That's an older one, but I kind of did a newer version of that during the open house. Let's see. Shoot. Well, I should have labeled them better. Here you go. You can also watch this one. And the answer is... the answer is it depends on the option that I'm playing. So, for instance, if if you said you like the risk management style, so if I'm looking at, let's say, PLTR here, and I want to pick it up off of this point of control, which actually has a nice risk reward area, right? And I want to risk down to this lower line here at 35.90, and I want to target up here, and so I've got a 1 to 2.5 risk reward. I can come in here and say, okay, well, I'm risking 66 cents on the underlying. I could even bring that down to, like, if I got it just a little bit lower, 50 cents on the underlying. And if I'm buying, let's say, okay, let's go PLTR. This is just sort of the short and quick answer, but I'd watch those videos. So if I'm buying, let's say, the October 18th, $1.35s, I'm buying the $37 calls here for roughly a 50 delta. It's a 4.9, but let's just call it a 50 delta. That for every dollar move, right? For every $1 move, this option contract, one of those option contracts is going to move 50 cents, right? So if I know that, and so that's not quite $1. That's, let's say we're risking the 50 cents. So from here to there, that's going to move 25 cents because it's 50 cents on the underlying. It's half of, a 50 delta. So for every dollar, for the PLTR to move to my stop, this is going to be worth 25 cents less. Okay, so $25 less if I'm buying one lot, right? So if I'm only willing to risk $100 on any given trade, let's just say, right? In this trade example, I can only buy 4 lots if I'm risking 25 cents. Now, this doesn't factor in, volatility and time decay, stuff like that. But that's just kind of a quick way to figure out how many contracts you have on, how that's going to move, and then what your total risk is. So that's the quick and dirty answer. But both of those videos kind of get into that in a little bit more detail. So I hope that helps. Okay, any other questions for me? Anybody want me to look at some charts? I'm gonna stop. I guess I'll just keep the recording going. It'll be a little bit longer, but that's sort of the end of the VOLD and ADD and tick discussion for informing sniper trades and how they might play out. So the rest of this video will be just me answering any questions that anybody has. No. It works, Polaris. It works for other indicators as well. I mean, the VOLD is just that, you know, it works on, you have to look at it on the indices. But, you know, the SPY and the Q are going to be a little bit different. You could look at it on the IWM as well, you know, and then you could have all your indices up, and then the ones that are getting the most flow for that day could be the ones that you play your snipers on. Yeah, Navy Nick. No, it does not stay constant when we're talking risk reward. But if you're going out, like in this example of the PLTR, I was going out to October 18th, you know, so theta would not play a massive, would not have a massive effect on that risk. But, you know, changes in IV, some news, you know, other things could affect it slightly, but it gives you kind of a baseline of, okay, I'm risking, you know, I'm risking 50 cents on the underlying. So if I'm playing a delta, it's going to move, you know, 25 cents because I'm risking 50 cents. If I was risking $1, or if I was risking, you know, $5, right? Then that option contract is gonna move, you know, $2.50 per dollar move, right? So, or for that full move. So then you can calculate, okay, what is my risk? So if I'm only, you know, you know, putting $1,000 into each trade, and my max risk is $200, right? You could say, well, that's, you know, that's 20%, or, you know, so I'm just going to wait, and if it's 20%, I'm going to cut it. But if you're saying, okay, my risk is 20%, and all of a sudden, you know, your risk profile here on your actual trade, that doesn't pan out. Okay, well, I'm only willing to risk $200. So maybe I only need to put on, you know, 4 contracts. So I'm only spending $800, let's say, per trade, instead of going to the full 1,000. Because if you go to the full 1,000, now you're risking 250. Because you want to, in my opinion, you don't want to stop out just because you exceeded your risk profile, although that is important. You want to stop out when the chart breaks down. Because let's say you took too many contracts, and this thing drifts down to here, and you're like, oh, I'm past my 20%. I got to take this off, right? Or 20% loss, or 25% loss, or whatever. And then it comes into this clear support area and goes wham, right? But you stopped out because you were at, you know, sort of a max pain level, versus playing the chart and leaving room for that chart to come down into that level. So you're not having to take it off at max pain. You're giving it an opportunity to bounce at what is a clear, as you can see here, support level. And if it breaks through, fine, stop out. But that allows you to give it room. You want to look at Kava on a 30-minute. Man, Kava's been great, hasn't it? I mean, look at that trend. Right into that trend line, into a bit of VP right there. It's trying to hold this previous sort of resistance level. What was resistance becomes support. You know, I could see a good RR level with a stop below this point of control. with a target of, your that target number 2 that I had on there from an earlier trade. I could see doing something like that. Although that's really only giving you a kind of a 2 to 1 or 1 to 2. Sorry, I got to start remembering to say that. Risk first, then reward. Oh, look at that great move in the SPY XPX. We've now broken our hourly range high, and what sort of gave that confidence, right, that we were going to start to buy up, was that VOLD ratio staying up above, and the Qs is even higher, staying up above that 2.5. Wish I was still holding my bounce from right here. Looks great. TSM question mark. What time frame are you looking at? What is there anything specific you'd like me to look at? Yeah, it looks extended to me. MRK or Mr. K, how does a price drop affect the short float? It won't directly affect the short float unless you're coming into a level and people are covering. Short float is just the amount of shares that are held short. I mean, it could increase it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to change the number. That's just a percentage. And a high short float means that, it basically means that the people that are short are happy. So, because it's going down and they're holding it short. It's when the name goes up that that short people that are holding a name short get themselves into a bit of trouble and have to stop out. Yeah, so a little sell-off and hard reversal today. Really, the market I've been charting it a little bit, but another strategy I've been kind of experimenting with is credit spreads at 1030 or 1040-ish, kind of that 1030 window for a reversal, right? So that here was one yesterday that while we had a rangy day, a credit spread here would have worked out. I'm assuming that a credit spread here would have worked out. So, or will work out. We'll see what happens on the range here. But that's kind of an interesting strategy that, as of late, has been working pretty well. And you just do a 0 DTE that expires that day, right? And you just take the reversal idea. So anyway, any more questions for me before I jump off here? Nice. AMD. Yeah, things have to just be crushing right now, don't they? NVIDIA took the day. Yeah, it did. Oh, man. Took the inside day up. And it took the inside day up hard. Right? Isn't that what you said you were playing? D-Man? Yeah. Good Lord. And I'm sure AMD is doing great. Yeah, look at that. God, look at that reversal today. Just a huge range. Love that. I don't think it's volume rate of change. It's a volume ratio, the VOLD. So, I mean, it could be. I'll have to look at it on toss. You should just be able to put in like $VOLD on toss. Okay, I'm going to jump off. I am out tomorrow, so it's just D-Man and Nate Bear tomorrow, and I'll be back on Thursday. So, but I'm here all day. I'm in chat, so if you have any questions, just let me know. I will talk to you all soon.